most important journey you will take in your life is the one of self-discovery and transformation. Welcome to Elevate and Liberate podcast. I'm Ashlee Rose, and each week we'll dive deep into transforming our inner world in order to create the life and love you crave. Who are you really, and what's actually possible for you this lifetime? Subscribe now and let's elevate and liberate love, life, and self. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of Elevate and Liberate podcast. I hope you've all had a wonderful week. And before we dive into this week's episode about bodies, which I'm very excited for you to hear, I wanted to invite you all to a free call that I have with my friend coming up tomorrow. So if you're literally listening to this episode on May the 14th, 2024, the free call starts tomorrow on May the 15th, 2024 at 5:30 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time or Brisbane time. So the free call is called The Magic You Know Is Possible. It's a talk to the entities free taster. So if you're interested, if it pings for you, if you'd love to come and join us on a free live Zoom to talk all about the spirit world, the magic that's actually available through the inclusion of all, then I invite you to click the link in the show notes below and join us, and I'll see you there. If you're listening to this after May the 15th, 2024, you can still click the link below and actually receive the recording and listen to that and enjoy it. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this week's episode. Again, I'm so grateful for each and every one of you being here. This is on YouTube as well, to remind you. So if you're listening to this via audio and you'd love to watch the video, then you can also click the link in the show notes below to watch the video on YouTube. And all of the other podcast episodes, since I changed my podcast to Elevate and Liberate, are all on YouTube now as well. So anyway, without further ado, let's dive into this week's episode. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this conversation about bodies with the wonderful Wendy Mulder, who lives in Brisbane, Australia, not far from me, and who is a fellow Access Consciousness Certified Facilitator. Welcome, Wendy. I'm so grateful to have you here today with me.
Thank you, and I'm so grateful to be here as well and to talk about my favorite subject, bodies.
Which isn't many other people's favorite subject, I must admit. Like, what you see in the world is so much pain and suffering with bodies, and so much illness with bodies, whether that is this pain, like literal physical pain that people experience in their bodies all day, every day, or whether it's the pain of not being thin enough or not being pretty enough, or your body not looking like the models that you actually see in magazines. So bodies is such a gift, and also such a pain in the ass, most people would say. And I see a lot of people mainly making bodies wrong, rather than actually acknowledging the gift that having a body can be. So I really guess I wanted to start there. Like, what do you know about bodies, and what is body to you?
Well, it's a really interesting question, Ashlee, because even right now at the moment, I'm going through stuff with my body, and it's such, my body, I love it. It's my bestest friend. I mean, gosh, it takes me from, well, in the morning when I wake up and when I go to sleep at night, but it's an incredible facilitator. It's an incredible facilitator for more awareness or more consciousness, whatever you want to call it.
It's completely different to what we're taught in, I guess, this reality or this society about diagnose something with your body. And that's the thing. It's like, for those listening, some of you may know that your body has its own language and that your body constantly is trying to speak to you. And some of you may not be aware of that because it's not something that we're taught growing up. And what's really interesting is when I learned that our body is just this massive antenna system, basically, and it's constantly giving us feedback of the world around us, other people's worlds around us, but also our world. And I think that's the thing that started changing everything for me, was actually looking at your body in a sense that it was your best friend, and that it actually quite literally and figuratively has your back. And I think most people go into my body's against me, it's malicious, rather than actually going, okay, well, if all of this was a gift and all of this that's going on with my body was a gift to greater awareness, and to even more of myself, then what is my body trying to communicate with me? But that is the most challenging, I guess, degrees that we would probably have to do in our life, is beginning to look at what if every pain that's in your body and everything that's going on with your body was it actually communicating something to you? And that something doesn't necessarily have to belong to you. It could be communicating something that's going on with someone else's body that you're close to, or that you've spent time with that day, or someone that you've spoken to that lives across the other side of the world. So it kind of opens up this whole can of worms. And that's why it's easy for people to go to conclusion and decide, oh, well, this hip pain must be because I slept weirdly or I went running, rather than us actually tapping into the hip and the body and going, okay, like, what is this body? Are you trying to communicate something with me? And I've heard before as well, like the founder of Access Consciousness, Gary Douglas, saying that your body is the key to consciousness. Can you expand on that for everybody listening? Because that was a big thing for me. We often believe that we're the key to consciousness, like us doing the work and attending more personal development courses, and that our unlocking our mind is the key to consciousness. But when he said the body is the key to consciousness, I was like, whoa, that changes things completely.
Yeah, well, what just comes up for me is the body doesn't have a point of view at all, and that's where it's like we're so connected to the earth, because the earth has the earth is just doing its thing. It's just being. It's such a gift to get us to realize that what if we could actually live on this planet and walk with this earth and just be with no judgment and have so much more gratitude for our body. I used to suffer terribly from migraines, and the body doesn't have a point of view, right? So if you go, oh, I've got a migraine coming, the body goes, oh, okay, we've got a migraine coming. Oh, that means I feel sick. That means I've got sore eyes. Oh, that means I'm going to have to take something. But the magic of actually changing that, communicating with your body and going, body, what is this awareness? And to me, it was a miracle, because I had migraines from a very young age, from two right through to my 30s. And by just being willing to make the demand in my world and catch it and going, body, instead of going, is feeling the symptoms, because the body just goes with what it's told, but changing it and going, body, what is this awareness? What else is truly possible here that I haven't considered? And working on it and choosing it and keep choosing it and keep choosing it, I don't get migraines anymore. To me, that was a miracle. And that was a long way around, but I suppose there's just one story to the joy and the key of what our body, the language of our body, the consciousness of our body, of what it actually is gifting us, if we really are willing to choose to change it.
And I love what you said about your body being an extension of the earth. I guess when you were talking, I was like, well, what is it with like so many people experiencing so much disease and so much pain and suffering in their body? And I really got how disconnected we are from the earth and from our bodies, which creates all the pain and suffering to begin with. Because if you were connected to your body and you listen to the whispers of your body, then it would actually show you the way. And I love your example with the migraine. And I have a similar one where I remember when I was still a nurse as well, like we both have a medical background. And I went to work that day and I'd already been considering not working as a nurse anymore. I never wanted to anyway. When I studied, I knew it was a means to an end, but I just wasn't sure what was next. So I was like, okay, in the meantime, I'll just study to be a nurse. And I'd already been considering leaving my nursing job and didn't trust myself that it was possible to find something else, or particularly to create a business, and especially to create my own business and travel the world. And I was going to work and I got this UTI, and I got to work, went to the toilet, and I was actually like in so much pain. And then I actually just finally dropped down. Instead of calling it a UTI, I dropped into my body and I was like, okay, body, like, what do you require right now? And it was just like, get me out of here. I don't want to work here anymore. I don't want to be in a hospital environment. I don't want to be around all those drugs and medications, because I was taking all of those on board.
Yeah.
I went up to the nurse unit manager and I said, I know I've just got to work, but I'm like really unwell. I'm going to have to leave. And as soon as I walked out those hospital doors, got in the car, and then still I was functioning a bit in my head. So I drove to the nearest pharmacy to get medication. And I got out of the car, walked into the pharmacy, and then all of a sudden it was completely gone. Like all pain, everything had just like left my body. And I was like, whoa,
Wow.
really is what is possible when you actually truly communicate with your body and don't disconnect from it. And if I had disconnected from it and not actually asked it questions, then I could have literally been suffering from UTIs for the rest of my life. But really, it's just, again, that language. I know when I do get a UTI, it's actually my body letting me know that whatever situation I'm in is not actually contributing to me right now, and to just change it. But you can only get to that point when you're actually willing to keep tapping into your body, and instead of judging it and calling it wrong and calling it pain and calling it disease, you actually go, well, if this wasn't pain and this wasn't disease and this wasn't suffering, like what is this? And I guess for me, that is a way that the body is the key to consciousness, because through my body's pain and UTI that day at work, I tapped into more consciousness of what I truly desired to create as my life, which was the opposite of what I was choosing.
And even just for, just that one to take for people to take away is just gratitude. Like if there is, or even just to be aware if they're starting to, judge something, whatever's going on in their body, just flick it over to gratitude. Even if you just start playing with that, but be aware. And I think that's the key of how cool it is with our bodies, is to catch it, change it. And it's not just a once only. I mean, look, I've been doing stuff with bodies for years, and like I'm constantly being the tool, asking the question and listening to my body, because I trust it enough now to know I'm vulnerable enough with it. I trust it enough. I'm in allowance for it enough to know that it is showing me something here. Or it's a matter of I'm aware of all the people around me that have got stuff going on that's not mine. And like you said, like as soon as I move out of a certain location, it's like, oh, that's all gone. I've got space again. It's not mine.
Yeah. And that's key, is that presence piece. Like if you're all, you might know the tools of access consciousness or use them, or you may have never heard of them before, but presence is number one above everything else. Because if you're not present with what you're thinking, like what you're deciding this thing that's going on with your body is, and where you're functioning from, then you can't actually change it. So you require to have this level of self-awareness. And that's where, I mean, all of this starts. If you desire to function for more consciousness, you have to have this level of self-awareness and presence with what's actually coming out of your mouth and what's going on in your head. And
yeah, exactly.
for me, that was the key to changing it all, to actually getting clear on, wait a second, like, okay, I have this thing going on with my body. And then asking yourself, okay, what have I decided this is? And, even for me, like when I had the UTI, if I tapped into it and was present with it, I'm like, okay, I've decided this is a UTI. What if it's not a UTI? Even though that's what the symptoms are suggesting, what if it's not? And body, are you trying to communicate something with me? Is this an awareness for me? Or is this awareness of something or someone else or for someone else? And oftentimes just those questions can already change it automatically because you've acknowledged it and your body's like, great, now I don't have to be so intense. You're actually getting the message, and that intensity can slowly start to dissolve and dissipate as well. But it's a massive topic. And I know for me, even being into spirituality and into growth and personal development, the thing I see a lot of people do is forget about their bodies. And I know I did. I'm so focused on working on like my higher self that I've completely forgotten that my body has any part of that. And I often forget I even have a body most of the time. And I know for me, that's a massive thing. I see this disconnection, even in like spirituality and spiritual growth, of like this disconnection from body. And the biggest thing I've learned in the last few months, I've had so much stuff going with my body, like severe nausea, dizziness, brain fog. And again, asking my body questions, it sent me to start getting regular colonics. And colonics is where, for those of you who don't know, you put a tube up your bum and you wash like your whole digestive system out with 60 liters of water that runs through your entire digestive system, intestines, all the way up to your stomach in, an hour, 2 hours. And what I really got to recognize as well that I hadn't acknowledged before was sometimes, and I truly believe this now, that anything that you're storing in your body, from trauma to judgments to decisions to belief systems to conditioning, actually requires some kind of physical, either movement, physical process, or like for me, colonics, to actually change it. And we often forget about the physical side of things.
Yeah, there's so many simple things as well. Like I love clothes, and I love the joy of, like, we have this beautiful body, no matter what it looks like, and if we're coming from the gratitude, and like, how exciting is it that we can wear clothes? We can wear clothes over our beautiful body to actually express our joy and to inspire ourselves or inspire others. But there's so many simplistic things that we've been gifted with. Like we created our body, so why not enjoy it in amongst all the things that are going on, and just that to me is just so yummy.
Yeah. And I'd invite all of you listening to tap into the energy that Wendy's being as well, like so far beyond the words, because she bees this space of gratitude and joy and ease with her body as well. So if you guys listening to this are experiencing more relaxation or more peace or more ease, then that's your natural state of being with your body. It's just where we've decided a whole bunch of things, we've concluded a whole bunch of things about our body, about what's going on with it or what's not going on with it, that keeps you from that total space of gratitude and relaxation. So yeah, I guess like leaving it there, I would invite all of you to tap into that space more and recognize that if you didn't have a body, you wouldn't be here on this earth. It's your body that allows you to walk with the earth. Without your body, you are an infinite being, a soul, a spirit, whatever you want to call it, but you don't get to experience the joy of having a body, the joy of eating delicious food, the joy of buying nice clothes. And I know when we all buy nice new clothes, we're just like, we feel like 10 feet taller and like we can achieve anything. And then the joy of swimming, the joy of feeling sand between our toes, the joy of having sex, like all of this stuff. If you didn't have a body, you wouldn't be able to enjoy that. And if you're not enjoying any of that now because you have so much judgment of your body, it's like, what if you just began to, with the acknowledgement that your body is not out to get you, it is not malicious, it is just constantly trying to gift you information about the world around you and gift you the awareness and information that you're refusing to receive, that you keep dismissing, that if you would begin to start really receiving it and acknowledging it and working with your body, your entire life could become so much greater, and it could and can show you the way if you're willing to ask it. And yeah, start asking, hey body, can you show me the way with this, please? And even if that awareness, like for me, the awareness was that I started colonics because I have a lot of physical parasites in my system, like so many that I was so toxic that I could barely even function at the end of last year. But then the awareness underneath that was that my body was like, hey, you've been asking to expand. You've been asking to be even more. And with all these like physical parasites in my body's nervous system would not be able to function with all of that going on and me actually expanding into greater. So all of a sudden, my body had to kind of almost shut down for me to like basically not do a thing in order to actually gift me the awareness, hey, you have to change this. You have to flush all of this out of your system. And with parasites actually feed on your stories, your conclusions, your points of view. Like that's actually what they feed on. It's not just food, it's very energetic. And by flushing all of that out, all of my stories and all of these decisions about myself and all this programming about myself cleared too. And I was like, wow, how cool is my body? That it's like, hey, this is an even easier way, or this is a way that can actually contribute to all the other tools you're using and everything you're doing, like, you know, with your workshops and courses that you attend. But this is a way that, you know, my body can contribute even greater to letting go of all that stuff that stops me from being everything I came here to be. So it never shows up the way you think it's going to. But if you started with gratitude, and that's where it had to start with me, was what if this is not a problem? Like, what is this? Without having to understand it, because trust me, I did not understand it. I did not get much awareness at all for a very long time, like until probably I'd had my fifth colonic, and the lady that facilitates the colonics was like, oh, did you know that all these parasites actually feed on the trauma and your stories that you are holding in your body? And so most people can't let go of parasites just through normal elimination because they're so committed to the stories they have of themselves and the judgments they have of themselves. And I was like, oh my God. So yeah,
Wow.
gratitude.
Gratitude, that is so cool. And that is amazing. It's so wonderful to hear. And excuse me. And yeah, like truly, so maybe what I'd like to sort of finish with it in a sense is, you know, just that, like just hearing you as well, but just the joy, you know, just the joy of being alive. Like, you know, because it's, um, there's such an energy with that. I mean, in the sense that, you know, because, you know, one of the other things I do is do the grief work and do a lot with death and, you know, death and dying and things like that. And I've actually have such an appreciation of who we be, of our body, but the gift that we're here now, we're alive, and there's no such thing as time. And I love your story too, because you just it's like you're having this period of time, and then, you know, years from now it's just going to go further and further and further and more and more and more and more, and there's no what's right about it whenever it is that it shows up.
Mm.
And the joy of just, like, wow, we're alive, we're here now, and we can do all of those exciting things that you were saying. And what if we could have that wonderment of the little childlike of, like, we wake up in the morning and we might have stuff going on, but hey, we're still alive and we're breathing and we can smell,
Mm-hmm.
and all those wonderful things. So
Yeah.
um
And it doesn't stop. Like if you're
no.
that's the center of the world that's committed to, you know, being everything you came here to be and stepping into your infinite potential, it doesn't stop. There's no endpoint. There's no I've done the work or I haven't done the work. It's like, no, it's every choice you make. Also, to go into question, to ask questions rather than conclude. It's like your life just becomes greater and better and more. And it's like, what if your body is just one way to facilitate you to that greater and more that you've been asking for, no matter how that shows up. So
Mm. And
yeah,
I love that one. It never and I really resonate with that one too, Ashlee. It never shows up the way we think it's going to. And I suppose it can't, can it? Because when it's not about thinking,
yeah,
because thinking is thinking and it's all conclusion and many more things. So so it never shows up the way we think it is. But we just keep enjoying and having gratitude and living.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I guess with my example as well, just acknowledging, so much of this reality is like, I want it now. I want better. I
Yeah.
want more like now. It's like you're constantly looking for the results. And for me, like really, I mean, most of you that have followed me for a while would have noticed that I did go quiet for a while. I wasn't really facilitating many classes or doing many workshops because I was going through all this stuff with my body. Like I actually physically couldn't get off the couch like a lot of days, and I'd be sleeping all day long. And so many people could go into, oh my God, like your life is being destroyed, like your business is being destroyed, you're not even like showing up anymore, you're not generating an income. But I just had to keep trusting and relaxing into, I knew there was something so much bigger occurring, even though it looked like I was literally dying. And part of me was literally dying, was the part of me that still was playing small, even though I'm playing, bigger than some,
Yeah.
playing small, because I know what I'm here to create. I know I'm here to impact far more people than I've been impacting. So it's like, would you be willing to relax into that short-term potential like inconvenience for those long-term gains? And also, this isn't our only life. It hasn't been our only life. It won't be our only life. So anytime you're committed to accessing greater consciousness in this lifetime, it'll continue on and you'll reap the rewards in every other lifetime. And you're going to have to choose consciousness at one point or the other. So I'm like, well, why not choose it now? So I also know the work I'm doing, like through relaxation, through colonics and clearing my stories and the judgments I have that I didn't even know even existed cognitively. They're just there energetically, which is a lot of what stops us from receiving the things we've been asking for, was just to really be grateful for that. So are you willing to be with that potential short-term inconvenience? And short-term, really, a year is short-term for like the
Yeah.
lifetimes we've already had, even just this lifetime. And everything's starting to change. Like I just had my 21st colonic. So I've been washed out a lot. But we hold so much trauma and so many stories and about ourselves. And things are really starting to change for me. And most of you would have seen that I'm showing up more and started this podcast and everything. So again, it's really like, what if there is no right or wrong and you have to do this and you can't do this? And if you have a business, you have to keep showing up, and like all of that's bullshit. Like all of that's just a story you tell yourself. Like, what if everything is facilitating you to greater consciousness? So yeah, I just wanted to mention that part for all of you that maybe going through something as well, or may not be as motivated or as clear as you have been in the past. What is your body trying to communicate with you, and what is your body getting you ready for? Because I know if I didn't have all these colonics, I wouldn't be able to actually hold that like new version of me at all. And I have more of the capacity to actually do that now, to show up in the world in a completely different way. So anyway, we could talk for hours
Yeah.
about this. There is so much to this conversation.
Oh, I know it is. It's beautiful, but it is. It is, and it's the beautiful thing about it. It's just ongoing. It's just ongoing as our journey goes.
Mm.
Yeah, absolutely. But yes, thank you so much for having me on, and I will see you shortly soon. Anyway, shortly soon. Is that English? Probably not.
I don't do English very well. Like when I'm facilitating, I do English better. When I'm not facilitating, it's very funny. I don't really do English. Like I I always combine words.
Yeah.
I'm already like 100 sentences ahead of what
Yeah,
I
yeah,
say.
me
So
too.
words slow you down. That's probably another episode to talk about, is like actually,
Absolutely, absolutely. I've given up being wrong about myself with words now.
I'm almost there. I just laugh at myself now. I just tell people now, I don't speak English. I also don't really speak many languages. I speak energy extremely well. I can meet you and tell you exactly what's going on with you, but English, not my strong points.
Oh, that's
Awesome.
funny.
So also for those of you listening that live in Australia or not, that desire to travel, Wendy has a 3-day body class coming up next month, June
Yes.
21st to 23rd in Peregian Beach, Sunshine Coast, Queensland, Australia. we have a beautiful venue there. And as Wendy was talking about at the start of this episode, she was mentioning body processes. For those of you that don't know what that is, they are energetic hands-on processes that actually start to energetically clear stuff in your body. So again, stories, judgments, decisions, belief systems, points of view, anything that you've locked into your body, because we lock so much in our body, like the trauma that we've experienced from this or any other lifetime, thoughts, past experiences are all locked in our body. And that's what I was talking about. Sometimes we do require something physical to actually begin to dissipate that, whether it's colonics, body processes, whatever that is. So she has, my dog's going crazy. I don't know if you can hear. She's
Yeah.
a lot. That will be on the recording. My dog wants to contribute.
Yeah, lovely.
But yeah, Wendy has a 3-day body class coming up, like I said. So I'll pop all the links below in the comments for anyone that has any questions. Please feel free to reach out to me. But yeah, it's going to be absolutely beautiful. You'll learn over 30 body processes in this manual that you can take with you and then literally use on clients, use on yourself, use on, family, friends, those that you love, to really start gifting them more of that space and relaxation and gratitude for their body that allows things to completely start to shift and change as if by magic that makes no sense to your logical mind. But it just occurs. So I'm so excited for that. Thank you for being here with me, Wendy, and I'll see you guys for another episode soon.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ashlee. And yeah, look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd be so grateful if you left a 5-star review and share it with someone you know. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast to be notified of upcoming episodes. You can find more about me at ashlee-rose.com. And remember, creating the life and love you crave is absolutely possible and available to each and every one of you.